Are there good spots to buy in healthcare? Joining me, Stephanie Link, Director of Research for TheStreet. So Stephanie, I was talking to Jim last week, and he said that healthcare and tech are two sectors you really want to kind of stay away from right now. But then you've been buying Express Scripts.
Right.
Is this a different story, and why did you pick this stock?
I think there are pockets in healthcare that you can own, and we've been a big fan of the PBM space, of the generic drug industry theme, right? 2012 is going to be a huge year for generic drug launches, and the PBMs are really going to benefit. So you either own like a pure play generic company or the PBMs, in my mind. Now, we had owned Medco. We made some money. We took money. We took profits in that, and largely because they had issues regarding their contracts. I don't want that. I don't want the noise from that. Express Scripts is kind of cleaner. It's more expensive, better growth, but cleaner in terms of not having that contract overhang in terms of renewal. So I think it's just a really good way to play the theme.
Is there another way to play the sector, though, looking at, say, medical device makers?
Well, you can play medical device makers, but they're up so much. See, the thing about Express Scripts is kind of interesting. It's actually down 10% from its high, whereas a lot of the drug device companies, like a Stryker or a Baxter, those companies have had nice moves. So, I'd be more inclined to own, the way you can play the generic theme, but also it's going to help their margins too, as well as their revenue. So I think you get kind of like a bigger bang for your buck with these other ones.
If this is a 2012 story, though, don't you have a lot of time to sort of get into this space, and is now the right time, or do you want to wait for other headwinds to sort of drag the stocks down to get in?
I don't think there's a lot of headwinds. I think most people know that the first half of 2011, kind of boring, not really a lot of new news. I think the generic wave starts in the second half of 2011 with Lipitor, and then in 2012 you really have so many different drugs. So I think that you want to get in ahead of this news, because I think as you get closer to the event, the stock will act better and it will go higher.
And last question, with Express Scripts, I've been reading a bunch of articles about it, and it seems like some analysts are becoming really, really positive on it. Is it getting too popular now, a too trendy way to play? Well,
it's interesting. You're right on that, and they also like Medco. The interesting thing, though, is that the stock is still down, right? From like, if this was at its high, I'd say okay. If it was really very expensive, it's more expensive than Medco, but it's still relatively attractive relative to its growth rate. So I can still find reasons to get excited, particularly since earnings are probably understated, especially next year.
Thanks, Stephanie. I appreciate it. And for more on what Jim and Stephanie are buying, go to actionalertsplus.com.